We are always talking free agency, but my gosh, have trades changed the complexion of so many teams, and nobody better to put it into perspective than Joel Sherman. Good Friday morning to you. You made a list of the top 5 offseason trades, and it's so difficult, Joel. We always have conversations about assessing trades in real time. That's difficult to do. But now when we've had time, a few trades have really changed the identity of so many teams. Give us a few.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with one that's the untraditional kind of trade in the offseason, which is my veteran for your veteran. Usually you're getting prospects back, but the Mets wanted to get better, they thought, defensively, and wanted shorter years in Marcus Semien. They were concerned about the 5 years of Brandon Nimmo, but I've got to say this, a third of the way into the season, this one isn't close. Nimmo literally has twice the OPS plus of Semien. Semien's 64 and Nimmo's 127. He leads the Rangers in WAR. The Rangers are having all kinds of offensive problems. And this guy, if they didn't have this guy, I don't know where they've been. And by the way, while Semien's defense has come way down, Nimmo is third among right fielders, a new position in DRS. So actually, he probably would have helped the Mets at the other one. On the more traditional side, St. Louis made 3 trades in seemingly a rebuild. It's interesting. They're 29 and 25, but they trade 3 guys, Arenado, Wilson Contreras, and Sonny Gray. Arenado, they eat almost all of the money, 31 of the 42 million, to go to Arizona. And, you know, Arenado looked at age 35 like maybe he was right near the end. But in the middle of April, starting April 15th, 311 average, 7 homers, 972 OPS. He had a groin issue a couple of days ago and he didn't play the last game. I'm curious what comes back. And the Red Sox, among the few good things for the Red Sox this year is Wilson Contreras has been their best hitter pretty much by far this season. And as far as pitchers go, Sonny Gray is 5-1 for a team that's 23 and 32. And so I have a feeling that Wilson Contreras and Sonny Gray, if things don't change drastically in this third of a season for Boston, might get traded again before the deadline.
So interesting, something to watch for. And your line, my veteran for your veteran, in that first trade, I never thought of it like that, but it's so often not the case. So it's interesting to see that and which side won. I feel like narratives are created and they stick. For example, in the Bronx, we live in New York City. It was, they didn't do enough in the offseason. I remember asking Aaron Boone in spring training, he said, look, there are worse things than continuing with a 94-win team. They did, that narrative's not entirely true.
Yeah, they were the stand-pat Yankees, except for I don't remember Garrett Cole pitching for them last year, who has thrown 12 and 2/3 innings, and they traded for Ryan Weathers, who has been really good for them so far this year. The one thing to keep in mind is Weathers has never thrown big innings in the major leagues, never over 100. He did it minor leagues, majors combined, but since he's become a major leaguer, that is not terrible news for the Yankees. First of all, he's holding his stuff so far and seems to be getting better as the season goes along. But the Yankees' clear problem this season is their bullpen. And I keep thinking the overflow of their rotation is ultimately going to solve that. That with Cole and Rodon back, I think they'll get Max Fried back about mid-season. Cam Schlittler is right now probably the front runner for AL Cy Young. Between Will Warren, Ryan Weathers, Carlos Lagrange in the minor leagues, I think 2 of those guys are going to end up being bullpen guys, and I think Weathers' lefty power is going to be one of them.
That's so interesting. So in a 5-game series, it's Cole, Rodon, Fried, and Cam, and then we work on the later innings.
Like, I think then it becomes Legion Ball. We're going to take our 13 best pitchers and these are the 13 best arms to try to win a World Series, and I think Weathers will be part of it in some form as long as he continues in this path and stays healthy.
A great collection of talent there in the Bronx. We looked at the National League Central yesterday, and we just spoke with Pat Murphy. It's a fascinating division made even more interesting by really good deals.
Yeah, so last year the Pirates finished last in homers and last in runs per game. They're middle of the pack in homers this year, which doesn't sound like much except for if you were last year, and they're 6th in runs per game. Their best offensive player, pretty much by far, has been Brandon Lau. And that's a trade. It was a 3-way trade. And by the way, Mason Montgomery has helped them out of the bullpen. Jake Mangum is a pretty good 4th outfielder. To date, they've really won this trade. Lau would be on a 10-person MVP ballot. he'd be one of the people who would get at least some down ballot appreciation. He's in the top 10 in the National League in homers, RBIs, OPS. He's been really good. But, you had Pat Murphy on, and I just think there's a clear champion for the offseason trade this offseason, because turning Caleb Durbin and 2 other pieces, if you had just done it for Kyle Harrison, who's been a top 5 starter in the National League, in a great year for National League starting pitching this year, that would be really something. And I mean, when you look at Harrison...
Joel, this is crazy to look back on.
Right?
We had Kyle Harrison on the show this week.
18 consecutive shutout innings over his last 3 starts, by the way. You start imagining it's a far road from here to there, but, they haven't had something that looks like Mizorowski and Harrison able to start postseason games for them in a few years. You feel like can match up with anyone, regardless of, payrolls, market size, etc. And Drohan is a really good lefty reliever, power guy who's giving them innings. And by the way, David Hamilton is a Pat Murphy player, a lot like Caleb Durbin. There's not a lot of batting average there, but he could steal you a base. He could play a bunch of positions really well. If you did Caleb Durbin for David Hamilton, it'd be kind of an even trade. They got 2 difference-making pitchers, especially Harrison.
We were just talking to Pat Murphy, and Dero never...
And that's how they keep staying so good. They make great moves, the Milwaukee Brewers.
And he said it. He said, I believe they have all the pieces, and he believed it. Joel Sherman on the Inside Corner, thank you so much. We appreciate it.